Welcome to your Key Discovery Point. I am Brett Burney from Nextpoint, joined by Doug Austin of eDiscovery today. Doug, it seems like as soon as we get our head wrapped around one term in AI and understand it, another 10 pop up that we have to learn about and we have to comprehend. You linked to an article last week, which I thought was really helpful. It does a good job of explaining the difference between generative AI or Gen AI, which I think a lot of people have heard of already, right? And agentic AI, which is slightly different, but more important and definitely important to sort of start to understand here.
Yeah, absolutely, Brett. And I think we all remember a couple of years ago when the term generative AI became, embedded in the lexicon of not really, not just legal people, but pretty much all business people, all people in
Right.
general with ChatGPT and what have you. That was the buzzword or of 2022 or 2023, if you
Right.
will. The buzzword of 2025 seems to be agentic AI. And I thought this article did a really good job of differentiating the two. It's an article from Tech Radar Pro,
Mm-hmm.
and the way kind of discusses and differentiates it, I thought was really good. And the way it kind of talked about generative AI is kind of the genius with no to-do list. It's just sitting there waiting for you. It can do everything from write like Hemingway to do a studio Ghibli with cat playing chess with Einstein and all that sort of stuff. But it's just basically, you have to give it instructions and what have you. And you prompt it, it responds, and so forth. And so that's really what I think a lot of us have experienced with the use of generative AI with ChatGPT and Claude and Dolly and Midjourney and you name it, and even in
Yeah, I like
Discovery. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
like
I'm
what he
sorry.
says here is that it's impressive, of course, Gen AI. We all know what Gen AI can do, but he says here's the catch. It's passive. In this sense, just to your point, Doug, that you said, it's sitting there waiting for you to give it a command before it can go and do anything, before it can create anything.
Right. Whereas agentic AI, he describes as the self-starter with an agenda. And basically,
Nice.
it says if generative AI is like a talented artist, creating stunning works on command, agentic AI is like your highly competent chief of staff. And so one of the things about agentic AI, and I think we're really starting to see it in eDiscovery, is, as you know, Brett, we've had agents developed in eDiscovery processes for years to automate various tasks
Yes.
and what have you. So this is really kind of applying AI to that. And, one of the things I think that we'll see is a lot more of these type of processes that can be automated and AI can be used for that. Both of them, I think, have a use in e-discovery because certainly with generative AI, and a lot of platforms have incorporated it in, having the ability to prompt and ask questions about a collection of documents and get information back and be able to do everything from ECA to managed review to you name it, is great. But I think agentic AI is really going to also have a major role in how e-discovery workflows evolve. Because we're seeing that more platforms are starting to use agentic AI and apply it to different processes, agents performing tasks, and really applying it to a variety of things across the e-discovery lifecycle. So to me, I thought this was a good article because it explained the difference in a way that I hadn't really seen before, and I thought was kind of a good, straightforward way to put it.
It seems that there is some overlap here with some of the technologies, right? And I think appropriately so, because I know the things that we've been talking about in the e-discovery world with Gen AI to, I guess, is more of a prompt issue, right? Whereas we're all familiar with like creating Boolean searches if we want to search across a database to find documents that come back as the result. But maybe utilizing some of the Gen AI tools, we can use natural language queries, for example, and say, go find these documents and code them. I think that that's still relevant, obviously, right? And that's where the Gen AI components come from and understanding that. But then now litigators having an understanding of agentic AI that once you create this prompt and you set it out, it's almost like then you have limited human supervision over what those agents are then doing or what agentic AI is doing there. So I just wanted to point that out because, and I think even in this article, which is an excellent article, I'm so glad that you found it. Really, the article not talking specifically about the legal world either, right? Which is great that you were able to find this, Doug, and kind of apply this here. But I do just really think that it's so important to understand these terms, not just because you have to become an expert about it, just simply because you're going to need to know the differences here or the way that they can work together so that you can be more effective in utilizing the tools that are inevitably going to be put into e-discovery platforms going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, with agentic AI, you're seeing it really being applied to targeted use cases within eDiscovery,
Yeah.
where, you can establish the parameters in a way where there can be minimum or minimal human supervision but certainly human validation on the back end.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
there's still human in the loop even with agentic AI. A lot of people are concerned that as we get to more and more AI agents, that's going to take away jobs. But I definitely think there's still human in the loop, even with agentic AI, and certainly generative AI, because we're the ones who are really directing the AI model on what we want in terms of output.
Yeah, great, well said. Key discovery point today. Just I feel like you don't need to completely understand the differences between Gen AI and agentic AI, but you do need to start having a comfort level with it. And Doug, you do such a great service in being able to provide articles or kind of uncover articles like this that can help us better understand that. Thanks as always, Doug, and we'll talk with you next time.
All right. Thanks, Brett. Thanks, everybody.